Educate Hopkinton, also known as eHop, hosted their annual Know Your Vote Forum in an effort to help town officials and committees answer questions regarding town meeting articles and topics. Prior to the May 2nd annual town meeting, here's a look.
See if you could kind of brief folks on, if they do want to walk up to the mic, what they should expect relative to timing, time limits, etc.
Yeah, so each person presenting a motion gets 5 minutes to speak and make their case for the motion, and then once they're done, any member of the town meeting, so any registered voter in the town, can come up to the microphone. Each speaker gets 2 minutes to speak. No one can speak twice until everyone who wishes to speak once has had their first opportunity to speak, and no one can speak more than twice on the same motion. This can get a little complicated if there are amendments or anything like that going on, subsidiary motions. So I will not throw my gavel at anyone if they get up and have already used their quota for speaking. I'm happy to take any questions. But the goal is to get the information out there, get the questions answered, but keep everything moving.
Perfect. And Zach, will there be breaks built into the schedule?
So there are no breaks built into the schedule.
Will there be snacks?
There will be snacks. There will be food and drink available in the cafeteria. I'm not sure everyone who's going to be providing it, but I know that one of our local Scouts BSA troops will be there providing food. If anyone comes to Polyarts, you've seen their stand set up at Polyarts. And what we're going to do is have audio video in the cafeteria. So you can go to the cafeteria, you can eat, drink, take a break. Food can't come back into the auditorium, but if you see that there's an article coming up that you want to speak on, if there's a vote coming up and you want to cast your vote, you're welcome to come back into the auditorium, ask your question, cast your vote, and then step back out to the cafeteria to finish your lunch.
Perfect. And let's say you were in the cafeteria and you want to rush to speak to one of the articles, maybe even make an amendment. How do you do that? Can you just speak at the microphone? Do you have to give something in advance in writing? How does that all work?
So to make an amendment, you would go up to the microphone and I move that we amend the motion. If it's a simple amendment, say changing $10,000 to $5,000 or 1 year to 2 years, that can be done just at the microphone. If it's something complex or that's something that's going to take a lot of wordsmithing on the screen, that needs to be given in writing to the technical station at the back of the hall. It doesn't have to be done in advance. If you want to bring an amendment in advance and know you're going to make an amendment, a typed up amendment is extremely helpful, but it can be handwritten out if something comes to mind at town meeting. It's just we want to avoid dictation at the mic and saying, oh, no, up a line, down a line, over 2 spaces. So for any sort of substantive amendment, we ask that they be given in writing before getting up to the mic.
The MWA, which stands for Massachusetts Water Resources Authority, would be a connection to that for drinking water needs, because we're facing water quality and water quantity issues. So in other words, we can't produce enough water to meet the current demands of our customers and our residents. And then the quality of water that we are providing is not meeting the standard to which the customers want, nor are we having all the regulatory requirements that we want. So we have issues that people have been complaining about, like brown water, concerns about PFAS and iron and manganese and things like that. So the MWA water is great quality water, plenty available, not as affected by drought as we have been. So it's a great alternative. We have done a lot of analysis. It is all available on our website. A full alternative analysis, which was provided to the Water and Sewer Advisory Board last month. So if anybody wants the Cliff Notes version, they can go and see their meeting notes or that presentation. If you want the full couple 100-page report, you can go look and read it on our website. But the analysis determined that for our needs, based on our current community and where we expect to grow, that the MWA connection with combination of continuing to use the water that we do from Ashland is the most cost-effective, most environmentally responsible, and the most technically feasible solution to our problem.
I'm chair of the Community Preservation Act, which we get 2% of your tax funds plus a state match of probably 17 to 18%. It's about $1.7 million each year, and we make recommendations on how to spend it in recreation, open space, historic preservation, and community housing or affordable housing. So that's kind of the scope of the CPC. We have hearings all fall. Any organization or committee within the town can put a proposal for us to spend some money in those 4 categories. It's very limited as to what we can do, but within those 4 categories, we talk about it, we debate it, and then we make a recommendation to the voters at town meeting as to how and what we should spend our money on this year.
So free cash is created just by any variances to the budget. So if we have revenues that were over our estimates, or if we have expenditures where we didn't spend as much as we budgeted, that contributes to free cash, as well as any unallocated free cash from prior year. So historically, it's ranged from anywhere between 7 million up to last year we had 18 million, and for this year we have 16 million in free cash, and that's how we're going to pay for our capital projects if they get approved at town meeting.
So in our annual town meeting in 2024, the planning board put forward a proposal that didn't pass, and then we had a special town meeting. I think it was in early December or late November that went forward in 2024 and passed. And so what happened after that, the state reviewed our proposed plan, and they deemed there was some ambiguity of whether our downtown district and the Walcott Valley district would be deemed adjoining. And they determined, nope, it's not adjoining. Even if you had a strip of land 1 foot wide, you actually need that strip of land 1 foot wide to connect the 2 properties. And so that's the proposal we're putting forward is really amending the prior plan to basically connect the downtown business district parcel or land area with Walcott Valley with the minimal parcels necessary to make that connection.
Perfect. And we had a question come in today about that specific part of the proposal. Has this new proposal been reviewed with the state to ensure that we'll meet the requirements?
I know our principal planner has been in contact with the state and discussed the viability of it, and the feedback has been, yes, this is a viable project, a viable plan, and the specific question of is there any minimum width required of parcels to connect the 2, and the answer was no. You just need the physical connection on a map.
Our goal was to always try to spread out these reductions and protect the classroom, protect our staff. We did not want to cut any staff. So through delaying some new positions, scaling back on some technology asks that we had in the budget, deferring some facility projects for a year or 2, and tightening up on expenses, whether it be contracted services or professional development, we were able to reduce around $629,000 from the FY27 original operating budget for the schools. So our initial percentage increase was 5.84%, which was about the 7-year average that we've had here in Hopkinton since 2020 to 2027. That 5.84 number was the average. With this reduction, now we're at 4.92%. We are reducing some of our new requests, which was difficult. We put a lot of thought into what we need in the schools, not what we want, but what we need to be successful. And so we were, based on this new information, we're going to try to put some staffing into future budgets. One is a 1.0 FTE art teacher at the middle school. You may know this, but next year, grades 6, 7, and 8 are the 3 largest grades in the district. So we'll be the biggest middle school enrollment that we've ever had. So that ask was to try to bring some class sizes down in art. We'll be able to manage that. The classes will be high. But with the Charleswood building on the horizon, the 6th grade will be moving down to Hopkins, and there'll be that grade reconfiguration. So it really will be a 1-year bubble.
One question that had come in was, what are some of our biggest cost drivers in the schools right now, would you say?
So the big thing that for the operating budgets, and this really is townwide, is 80% of the budget is salary. We're a service industry, so that's where your budget goes. So for the school, 80% of the budget driver is salary and staffing. The next biggest budget are really the contractual services for student needs, whether it's for specific education, transportation, internet services. So that's your next big bucket for the drivers.
Make sure to have your voice heard and an impact on your community by attending the annual Hopkinton Town Meeting on Saturday, May 2nd, starting at 9 a.m. sharp at the Hopkinton Middle School Auditorium.